Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another of these Paleo Revived Wave 1 figures, and this time we have the second to last, as we've got ourselves the Stegouros, and this one's pretty darn cool because we don't have very many Stegouros figures out on the market. Shockingly, we did recently get one from Mattel, which was pretty cool, but it's still, again, neat to have one like this. Definitely a better, more highly detailed version and larger version than what we had with the Mattel version. And definitely, again, another very cool figure, another very cool species in this line. I love the fact that Dino Mike Mac has introduced so many, not even less popular, I would say even lesser known species into this line, and given us some really cool stuff. And yet again, another very nice figure here with the Stegouros, so let's jump to a closer look and check it out from there. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Stegouros, you can see the Dinosaur has a very nice head sculpt there, very nice fine detail as well. You can see that we have some nice skin texture, kind of fine scale detail there. You've also got like some slightly armored sort of scoots moving over the top of the eye area. You can see the beak is sculpted nicely. The nostrils as well are sculpted there, and the mouth is slightly open. It's just open a little bit so you can kind of see the tongue there on the inside of the mouth. Again, I tried to paint mine up in a fairly realistic way. There wasn't much of anything that was true inspiration, maybe slightly kind of taking inspiration from the Min-Me that was released in the Mattel line, as it had kind of a similar coloration, but just obviously I added a good bit more color to mine. But just like with your usual Paleo Revived figures, you can see this one's in kind of a neutral position where it's basically just standing here with the legs in the same place on both sides, straightforward with the tail and head and everything like that. If you move up here into the top of the head sculpt of the Dinosaur, you can see the scale detail and skin texture looks really nice up here on the top of the head as well. As you move down through the course of the back of the Stegouros, you have all sorts of large scoots moving along the back, again giving it a bit of an armored sort of a look. And you can also see again some very nice scale detail, all sorts of variation when it comes to the sizes of the scale detail as well as you move through the course of the figure. They do continue all the way down here running along the side of the Dinosaur, and then as you move down into the legs, you can see a few more kind of trailing scoots down here, osteoderms, whatever you'd like to call them, as you move down into the legs. Both the front and rear leg do have those. You can see the skin texture continues to look nice. You can also make out the muscle definition, but it's not overly defined, which is a nice thing. It's definitely not like a shrink-wrapped version. You can see the toes down there as well as the toenails are all sculpted out. Same deal for the rear leg. Again, it looks really good when it comes to honestly every aspect. You can really see that calf muscle bulging right there very nicely. The skin texture looks good in the stomach region as well, on both the side of the stomach and moving down to the underside of the Dinosaur. And then as you lead out here into the tail, you have that trademark look for the Stegouros, something that I would say is like the most defining feature of this Dinosaur. And that as well looks great. You can see all sorts of really nice, very fine detail within that area. Same deal for the underside. And again, it is another one of those figures that once it arrives to you, it'll come unpainted, so you would have to paint it up yourself. But just like with all of the others, I had a very good time painting mine, choosing the color scheme and everything, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Of course, you're not going to see much of anything different over here compared to what we just saw on the first side because, like I said, it is in a neutral position, so there's not going to be too much different on one side to the other. But this is a fairly small species of dinosaur, so I felt like another reason why I really wanted to go with the greens is I feel like this would help to camouflage this dinosaur. If it were hiding in like vegetation and stuff and just basically trying to stay out of the way of anything that might want to feast upon it, I feel like these colors could work pretty good for this dinosaur. But again, like I said, just like with all of the others, again, this has been an overwhelmingly awesome line and yet another fantastic addition to it. Now, as far as a size goes, for a length, you are looking at around 5 3/4 inches or about 14 1/2, maybe approaching 15 centimeters, but not quite. and then height-wise right around 2 inches or 5 centimeters. For a size comparison, we've got ourselves Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A human being next to our Paleo Revived Stegouros, and you can see again, it's got a pretty decent size, especially considering it is a Stegouros. It definitely has a fairly large size to it, and most Stegouros figures that I have in my collection would be a decent bit smaller than this. The Mattel version, the Dino Zoo version, both quite a bit smaller than this. The only one I think that could compete size-wise with this would be either the Collect A or Safari LTD versions, would both be a little bit larger. So you've got like a really nice choice here in the middle area of the Stegouros figures that are out currently. This one would sit right in the middle. Now, unfortunately, most of my Stegouros figures are in storage, including my Mattel version, which I did try to locate to bring in here, but it was like really far back, I think, in a bin that I put it in. But as far as the size next to the Collect A version, if you happen to have the Collect A version, you can very clearly see there is a massive difference in size. You can also get a good idea of the size next to a Mattel Velociraptor and Dilophosaurus, as well as some more randoms with the Collect A Deluxe Dimetrodon and Schleich Diabloceratops. And then for a few random comparisons with Paleo Revived figures, we have the Morose next to our very cool Stegouros, as well as the one that started it all for me when it comes to these Paleo Revived figures, the Ornithomimus. We've also got the Smilodon for next to the last comparison, and for the final comparison, the adorable Spinoceratops. Just to iron out one final comparison, if you happen to have, snagged yourself any of these other Paleo Revived figures, you'll have hopefully at least one of these to compare as far as the size goes for the Stegouros. So this Dino Mike Mac Paleo Revived Stegouros figure is yet another really fun addition to this line. Definitely, again, a very cool species choice. There aren't all that many figures. Definitely over the last few years we've gotten more. There's no doubt about that. And even including one in the Mattel line, but by no means is the Mattel version as nice looking as this one. Dino Mike Mac has definitely gone all out when it comes to the sculpting of his Stegouros, giving it really beautiful skin texture, a really beautiful overall appearance, and continuing to have, again, that nice neutral look where it looks like it would be a perfect addition to the Walking with Dinosaurs line, which is something I'm a huge fan of. So that's very cool as well. This is one of the figures that does not sport articulation, so there's nothing going on as far as this one goes articulation-wise, just a really nice model, and you can see that as you move through the course of the figure. You'll notice there aren't any articulated joints or anything like that. Who knows what the future may hold, but as of right now, the Stegouros does not have any articulation. But with something like this, I don't feel like it really needs it. Again, the sculpt is honestly beautiful enough that it stands on its own 4 feet, not 2 feet, without articulation, and just looks absolutely gorgeous as a whole. And again, it's another of those figures like, all of these are, where when you get it, you have to paint it up yourself, or of course you could have somebody paint it for you. But I have a great time painting these figures, and I have had a great time painting them from start to almost finish, because we're just about at the end of Wave 1 here. Although there is actually one other figure that I didn't get, which I am going to hopefully get once Wave 2 is finished, I will get a hold of, which would be the Oviraptor. There is an Oviraptor in the first wave. That's the only one that I don't currently have. But again, this is a very cool figure, second to last when it comes to the ones that I have currently to show you guys. So if you are interested, just like with all the others, I will include links in the description to where you can purchase this. And of course, follow Dino Mike Mac on Instagram to stay up to date on everything he is creating and releasing. And of course, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.